Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, I hope you're all sitting down because I'm going to give you a bit of astounding news. It will blow your mind. No, not really. It's been revealed that, that the SNP have posted something that, let's just say, isn't entirely true. I know, stunning, isn't it? I can see you're all shocked. Hardly. Well, this time they're saying that the Barnett formula, they've given this information about the Barnett formula and saying, oh, it means that there's going to be massive cuts in the health budget and all this. And it turns out that this is quite literally a load of horseshit because it isn't true, of course. When the Barnett formula goes across, they don't say, and here's some money for this, and here's some money for that, and here's some money for something else. No, it's here's some money, spend it wisely. So it's up to the SNP government to spend it. So for them to say, oh, well, it means a cut in the health budget or whatever, is completely untrue. What it means is we're going to cut the health budget because we've got all this extra money that we're going to spend on independence. That's what it means. But they're never going to say that, of course. And now they're going to blame Westminster for underfunding the NHS when Westminster have given them their biggest amount of money ever. Nobody believes anything the SNP say, do they? Let's have a look. So SNP runs Scottish Government in fake news storm over Barnett funding as the Nats corrupt the civil service. Good Lord, the Nats being aligned with corruption? Who'd have thought that? The Nats getting the civil service to lie for them? That's unthinkable. The Nats being misleading and untrustworthy? Heaven forbid. Who'd have thought it, eh? The Nationalist executive posted an infographic on its social media channels, but it has been questioned for being factually inaccurate. Factually inaccurate is a polite way of saying a load of old bollocks, isn't it? Lies, discrepancies, things that aren't true, things that they're changing for their own benefit because the truth is rather unpalatable for them. Because they don't like the truth. The truth doesn't help them. The truth is always damaging to them. And so they have to lie. Anyway, the Scottish Government has found itself embroiled in a fake news storm again, should we put in there, after posting a misleading statement about Barnett funding on social media. Misleading, lying. The SNP-run executive's official X account shared an infographic that claimed the NHS funding in England would mean cuts to the health service in Scotland. And this is not the case. It read, below inflation funding uplifts for England's NHS mean a real terms cut to the funding Scotland receives for our NHS. But Scotland doesn't actually receive any funding for its NHS. There is a huge pile of cash given over. It's not true. It's a lie. The image came with the message, below inflation funding uplifts in England impact Scotland's budget. And it's bullshit because they've actually got a much bigger Barnett funding consequential this year than they ever have in history. It's a massive increase and it's all utter shite. These people can't help but lie all the time. Everything they do is a lie. Nothing they say is ever true. They say, in the UK government's autumn statement, only 10.8 million extra, not 10.8 million funding, 10.8 million extra funding was provided for NHS Scotland for the year. A real terms cut. This would fund just 5 hours of NHS Scotland activity in a year. Load of old rubbish. However, the message has been questioned with X including a community note with it providing the reader context. And this reads, this tweet is misleading. So even X have come out and said this, right? It says the UK government budgets do not provide funding for specific policy areas in Scotland, such as the NHS. The Scottish government is free to spend the money it receives from the UK government as a result of the autumn statement, however it likes. And the very fact that it's not spending it on the NHS but is spending it on independence tells you where their priorities lie. They don't care about the lives or welfare of the people of Scotland. People in Scotland can die. It is the price they are willing to pay to ensure that they get this ephemeral, unachievable independence. It will never happen. But it's not happening at the cost of so much misery. Scottish Liberal Democrat finance spokesman John Ferry called the message a clear example of misinformation. He added, "What has happened to our civil service? Has it been thoroughly corrupted by the nationalists?" And yes, it has. The civil service in Scotland is not fit for purpose anymore. It has been so badly infiltrated by Scotnats across the board. From the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. It is riven with them, and it is very biased towards them. What's going to happen when Labour get in and form the next government is going to be very interesting, because you're going to have a Labour government, but effectively an SNP civil service working directly against the Labour government. It's going to make for interesting times. Perhaps the civil service needs to be outed and changed, root and branch. Who knows? Kevin Haigh from These Islands think tank was also unhappy with the message. He said, "This isn't how the Barnett formula works. The Scottish government gets to decide how to spend our limited resources. The UK government does not get to decide how much of the Scottish government's budget is spent specifically on the NHS. What the UK government does do is, though, for example, send millions of pounds up to Scotland to say, please spend these on your swimming pools. And then the SNP government say, thank you, no, but we will spend it on independence. Or here's a lot of money to give out to businesses for their business rates relief. Please give that to them. Sure, quick, hide it away. There's billions there. Let's go and put that in a foreign bank so that when the regime fails, we can get out of town and go sit on a beach somewhere." They don't do it. They need, perhaps, to be made to. Who knows? Anyway, another infographic from the government, which is led by Alibaba, also came in for criticism over the weekend. It claims Scotland has less to spend because of Brexit. But Scottish Conservative MSP Murdo Fraser said, "This is simply a lie." He said it is not true that the UK economy is smaller today due to Brexit. Why is taxpayers' money spent on this SNP propaganda? And what would be the impact of Skexit on our economy and public services? If you think Brexit's bad, wait till you see Skexit. Wow, you would crash and burn within a day. And you'd have to have the Scottish pound, which would become virtually worthless on the international markets almost immediately. And then everything that you buy into the country becomes horrendously expensive. It's the quickest way of destroying a nation. But hey, the idiots that vote SNP are probably still going to vote for the SNP because they're idiots. Anyway, it comes as the impartiality of the civil service in Scotland continues to be questioned. Lord George Foulkes has led calls for public sector workers to be stopped for working on the breakup of the UK. He's not alone. The head of the civil service wants it as well. They want to say, basically, if you're a civil servant in Scotland, you must not, must not work on anything to do with independence. It must remain a party political matter. And I would like to see all the cost of all those brochures and things to be repaid from the coffers of the SNP back into the government's funding. But also, not only the cost of that and the printing and things, but also the cost of all those people working in that independence department, and Jamie Hebburn having to pay back all the money as well. And if he can't pay it back, at least get the party to pay it back. That would bankrupt them overnight, wouldn't it? They're already nearly $1 million in the hole as a party. So, yeah, we can push them into bankruptcy. And then everybody wins. Anyway, I shall stop there. We shall round up and come up and finish the video. But it's just one of those things. They just can't help but lie, can they? All the bleeding time. Lie after lie after lie. In the vain hope that people believe them. The trouble is they've lied so much, we believe nothing. Everything they do and say is fact-checked. Oh, they'd never learn, will they? Too stupid. They're like their voters. Anyway, coming up. Now, we have to ask why the lies on this particular subject. Well, I think it becomes clear. With the budget today, they need to get this out. They need to get this message out that everything that's cut and everything that goes, and when they're cutting services today, it's all going to be the fault of Westminster. It's not the fault of the SNP. It's never their fault that they fail. It's never their fault that they make the decisions to cut services. But it's not their fault either that they're pumping millions upon millions into the things that people don't want, like independence, like brochures, like Jamie Hebburn, like 35 million being reserved for foreign embassies, while 30 million is cut from mental health budgets, because people aren't important. Only the message, only independence, the agenda. That's all. Thank you very much for watching. I'll stop there. Do please hit the subscribe button. Definitely hit the like button. And I will speak to you later. Bye.